Hi there everyone and welcome. I'm so glad you stopped by my channel. If you're new, welcome, and if you're returning, welcome back. Today's recipe is for another meal in a jar, and this one is for jalapeno popper chicken casserole. I am basing this recipe on those classic flavors from jalapeno poppers, the ones that my husband and I like to have when we're, watching the game or something like that. They are typically jalapeno peppers stuffed with cream cheese and either wrapped in bacon or put in some sort of a batter and deep fried. For this meal in a jar, I am going to combine both of those flavors. I'm going to get you the yummy, salty, smoky, crispy bacon using the shelf-stable bacon bits and the breading using those Panko breadcrumbs. And this recipe has that added bonus of including some chicken, and I like to serve it over rice as well. It's just a favorite. Let me show you how I put it together. I'm starting with a quart-sized jar because I needed 4 servings from this. Of course, you can scale this recipe down if you are just cooking for 1 or 2. I put in 1.5 cups of our grilled chicken dices, and then the cream cheese flavor is going to come from my cream cheese powder. Now I'm using Judy's brand. Y'all let me know in the comments if you have a favorite brand for your cream cheese powder. That's the only one I've ever bought. I put in some sour cream powder from Thrive Life and then gave it a little shake. In go the green chili peppers and some green onions. If you don't have those, just use the chopped onions. Here are just some yummy spices that are going to increase the flavor. Some chicken bouillon, a little pinch of cayenne, salt, pepper, garlic powder, yum yum. I like to add pepper jack to amp up the pepper in the dish, but you could use cheddar if you prefer. This is how I'm going to mimic that crunchy coating on the jalapeno poppers. Panko breadcrumbs. Now, I'd like to put them in a baggie because I prepare them separately. If you are doing low carb, I suggest you swap out these panko breadcrumbs for pork panko. You can store it the same way and prepare it the same way, and it's really good. This is what you could store on your pantry shelf, and you could store it alongside the shelf-stable bacon bits and rice if you don't want to cook fresh rice. When you're ready to prepare this, go ahead and get out a couple of skillets. The big one is for the main dish and the small one is for the topping. Into the skillet, just dump the entire contents of that jar and add your water. You're going to add about 3 cups of water or so. I actually added a little bit more in this recipe and it was quite saucy, so I'm going to say 3 cups of water is plenty. Be sure and stir it really well. Those sauce powders will take a bit to incorporate into that water. You just want to make sure you get rid of the big lumps in there. And once you've got that good and stirred, you'll turn on your heat to probably medium-high because you want to bring it to a boil. And now's a good time to add some extra jalapeno flavor. Those diced jalapenos come in jar form, which is shelf stable, and they also come in cans, the little small cans. You can put an entire can of diced jalapenos in this if you want that type of heat. And it's so good. Of course, that's optional, but I really like it. Once this comes to a boil, give it another stir and then reduce your heat a bit. And while that simmers, just get that small skillet, put a couple tablespoons of butter in there, and then the contents of that bag of shelf-stable bacon. I like to get this bacon really good and crispy, and when it starts to foam up really nicely, then I strain off the bacon and I keep the flavored butter. Now that right there in that pan, that's gold. That is bacon flavored butter. And that is where you dump your panko breadcrumbs. Those panko breadcrumbs are fantastic, but they don't have a lot of flavor on their own. They have an amazing crunch, but not a lot of flavor. So when you put it in that bacon flavored butter, that is so delicious. And you can set that to the side. Now our toppings are ready. After about 20 minutes of simmering, you can give this a taste and see if you need to adjust the seasonings. Mine was great, so I just added about a cup of shredded cheese. I turned off the heat and let that stand for about 5 minutes just so that cheese would melt. And that's what it looks like. It's ready to serve. I do like to serve this over a bed of rice. There are some great options for shelf-stable rice if you just want something very instant. Of course, rice is really cheap if you cook it yourself. Thrive Life has instant rice that you could use here, but it's just not my favorite. I don't love the texture of it. It's fine flavor, but I don't like the texture. I prefer to use other kinds. And then I like to give it a sprinkling of the Panko breadcrumbs. Just such great crunch right there. And then a couple spoonfuls of that nice crispy bacon. And this is what it looks like. Isn't that lovely? And y'all, it tastes so good. It's really spicy. I think it's really spicy. My daughter and I had it for lunch yesterday and she said, "Mom, it's not that spicy. It's just good flavor." So I guess, spice it's relative. But gosh, it's really good with that bacon on top. I think the smoky, salty bacon is really necessary in this dish. It's just fantastic. If you're doing low carb, you could definitely serve this over cauli rice. That's really good. And then, of course, use the pork panko instead of the regular panko breadcrumbs. That would keep it quite low carb for you and still be really delicious. But yeah, y'all, that was an amazing bite. I loved this dish. I hope y'all give it a try. I am planning on uploading this to YouTube and scheduling it to launch on Thrive Thursday because my family and I are going to leave on vacation. So if you watch this and enjoy this video, please give me a like and definitely comment. And then when I get back in town, I will respond. All right, guys, thank y'all so much for watching. As always, I'll include the full recipe and my shopping link in the video description box below. God bless you. Y'all have a wonderful day. And until next time, y'all take care and keep thriving.